Hi tech lovers, welcome to another episode of Apple Budget Buys, and today I have been so looking forward to this product. This actually inspired me to do this series. It's all about looking at past Apple products. Obviously they're more affordable now. In some cases they're less than 10% of the original price when they came out new. Now this device, I remember the keynote like it was yesterday, when Phil Schiller famously said,
"Can't innovate anymore, my ass."
And I remember at the time, the design and that was epic. Unfortunately, this device didn't get off to the best start and it didn't last very long. It is, of course, the Mac Pro 2013, the trash can model. Now, the reason it got bad stick is essentially they went from a MacBook Pro that you could customize everything in. Then Apple started stopping that customization, which is why I believe it didn't do well. Now, if this came out today with an Apple Silicon chip in it, I think it would do wondrous. So it's here. The condition is supposed to be good. I'm not expecting an original box, so let's take a look. Now, they've written the password for the operating the OS on the box. That means that when I'm expecting it to boot straight up, I prefer it to be at the setup stage, and that's where I factory reset all of my devices that I sell to that point. Anyway, I'm going to do that anyway. So let's have a look. So no original box. I wasn't expecting one. Braided, well actually it's not braided, but the power cable, always a good start. Let's have a look. It's really heavy, really heavy, and you can see why it's called a trash can. Now, I've watched a bunch of these videos. Now, it looks like there is evidence of stickers being on there. Hopefully I can clean that up well. This is so heavy. I think it just needs a clean, but ultimately, desktops, you put them there, they don't do anything. Looks a bit dusty, so I can clean that up. It's a lot heavier than I thought it was going to be. Anyway, you can see why it's called a trash can. Looks like something out of Star Wars, right? It looks like Darth Vader's genitalia. You can see why Padme didn't mind the age difference in the end, right? Check this beast out. Oh my God, Mac Pro. Anyway, as you can see, I'm super excited. So I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to open it out. I'm going to get rid of the dust in there. And then I'm going to check it out. So let's do this. I successfully cleaned the device. Now the great thing about this is if you just toggle that, you can take this apart. So I managed to dust it out completely. Again, just looks like Darth Vader to me. Gave it a good dust, gave it a good clean, nice and shiny at the top. The back, as expected, there is some wear marks on the back. You're going to get that. But actually internally, once the dust was gone, it was all good. That is my only criticism of the seller. Clean stuff before you send it. First impressions are everything. Yeah, I cleaned this off. Now, I didn't know what material this was. It is metal. And the whole unit's heavier than I thought. So anyway, cleaned up very nicely. Now, there are some scratches on there. Now, of course, on the listing, I'm going to be very honest about it. I would say 1, three major scratches, a little bit of wear and tear. For the most part, I would say 7 out of 10, full condition. And to pop this back on, slide it into place. Now, as you can see, there's plenty of I/O on here. There's no USB-C. There is the old style Thunder ports. You've got 4 USBs. You've got Ethernet. Now, that's the first thing. So once I did clean it, I, of course, booted it up and did a software update. There was a software update in the last week, so no criticism to the seller there. It was on the version before that. It did that very quickly. So obviously it gives you an estimated time that it's going to do that. Now, like driving anywhere in your car, following a sat nav, it's a time to beat, right? And it did beat that time. And compared to the MacBook that I did last week, it stormed through the software update. As well as I actually factory resetted it, and that was probably the most intense thing that I did, was reinstall the operating system. So the person I sell it to, they get the fresh boot up screen rather than just an OS that they had no control of the setup of. It did that really quickly. It did get, I wouldn't say hot, it's warm, it's still warm. The fans did kick in. I wouldn't say compared to a MacBook Pro, they're not actually that noisy, and it's quite therapeutic actually, the sound of the fans. So that was nice. Now, to give you the spec on this machine, it is a 3.7 quad-core Intel Xeon E5 with 10 megabytes L3 cache and turbo boost up to 3.9. It has 16 gigs of RAM. You can configure it up to 64 gigs of RAM. It has a 256 gigabyte PCIe based SSD. That's my only criticism of this. It's only 256 gigs, but you've got the I/O to add external devices to. And hell, they sell brand new stuff with 256 gigs. It has dual graphics cards, which is where they went with this. And that was the positive about this release. It's got a dual AMD FirePro D500 with 3 gigabytes of GDDR5 VRAM. So what did I test? So after I did the software update, I did some gaming on Apple Arcade. Absolutely fine. My actual home device is a Mac Studio, which I would say is probably the equivalent of this in today's age. No problem with any game at all. This thing is a graphics workhorse. Final Cut Pro was fine. Render time render time was fine. Export time, that's where this is going to be slower than a brand new machine. However, what's an extra 5 to 10 minutes? Seriously, go get a cup of tea. So the point of this whole review is, and this video, is that this is 10 years old. You don't have to spend over £1,000 now to get a good Mac desktop. This is a Mac desktop. It is superb. Like I said, the most intensive thing I did with it was an export of Final Cut Pro. Handled it absolutely fine. I don't use Photoshop or any software like that, but based on Final Cut Pro, I would say it's going to be fine for Photoshop too. Price wise, you can pick these up anywhere between £250 and £400, depending on the spec. If you're good at auctions, which I am, which is why I'm here, I did get this for less than £200. It's certainly worth more than that, which is why I am reselling it. I'm going to list this around £300 to £350, see what interest it gets and drop down accordingly. However, does this work in 2024? Yes, it does. So this runs macOS Monterey, which is the foundation of macOS Sonoma. That's where macOS changed for the better. This runs that. It's still supported with some bug fixes and particularly security patches. So they still do look after it. Not as much as Sonoma, but it still ran. But for the average consumer, for what you can get this for compared to some brand new desktops, go for this. If you love Apple, you cannot go wrong. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed my video. Please follow me on Threads and Instagram at TechHubWilts UK. Please like this video. Please subscribe to me and tell me, why are you watching this video? Are you thinking about getting one? Does it still pique your interest? I tell you, if this was released today with Apple Silicon, this would be a hit. Let me know what bargain you found, or any bargains at all, and let me know any products you would like me to cover in this series. Thanks for watching.